Big ski to you all, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast, right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. This is my vice mayor and your thunderstick, occasionally known as Jesse Friedman. Welcome in, and we do have some breaking news on where we will be able to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2024. Thankfully, it's the 11th hour, essentially, with spring training games just one sleep away. We are one night away from being able to watch the Diamondbacks take on the Rockies in their first spring training game, but we did not know how we were going to watch those games or if those games were going to be broadcast. It would appear that, as we speculated on it at one point, that it will remain unchanged. MLB will continue to carry the Arizona Diamondbacks as they did last year when they took over from Bally Sports.
Yeah, so it's all at dbacks.tv. That's where you can go and sign up for this thing. It's $19.99 per month or $99.99 for the entire year. Just for Diamondbacks broadcast. It doesn't get you all the games for the rest of the league. Of course, you can get the regular MLB.tv package and then add this onto it as well. It's not included in just regular MLB.tv. So yeah, basically, exactly the same arrangement that the Diamondbacks had last year. Yep. And there was a report that we talked about a couple weeks ago from Evan Drellich saying that the Diamondbacks would use MLB as their broadcast partner. And then a couple days ago, Ken Kendrick and Derek Hall said that was, in fact, not yet the case, at least not officially. And then a couple days later, we hear that it is actually the case. So shout out to Evan Drellich, who was right all along. And I guess maybe the Diamondbacks were trying to really make sure and do their due diligence and make sure they explored all TV options. But yes, it is going to be Major League Baseball. And that's not a bad thing. Those broadcasts looked pretty dang good last year.
I think the way they seamlessly took over, I think the way that we saw them utilizing people that were the crew from Bally Sports that we have known for years to take over and essentially do those same roles, I think it was very smart in the way they did it. It's not as exciting as hearing that the Diamondbacks will be broadcast on Arizona Family. And we still don't have a lot of details because this does say dbacks.tv. So it does not specify channels or where we're going to be able to watch it. As you know, though, last year they did take over and pretty much were able to just have it, like on DirecTV, for instance, it was one channel up. So I imagine when all is said and done, we will probably see MLB here maintain those same channels, have the games available in the exact same way that they have been available prior to this. This is just the option for streaming and for out-of-market customers too.
Yeah, we have 5 spring training games being broadcast as well, the first of which is only 2 days away. Not the spring training opener on Friday, but the second game against the Colorado Rockies on Saturday will be broadcast actually for free. So you don't even have to have the subscription in order to get this. It's that game. They also have Tuesday, March 5th against the Padres, Thursday, March 14th against the Royals, Sunday, March 17th against the Angels, and then Monday, March 25th against the Cleveland Guardians. All of those games available for free here in spring training.
I thought that the MLB broadcast was great last year, to be honest. I thought especially the way that it was presented, the way it looked, I felt like, I know we discussed it back and forth, I felt like it was a little bit higher definition, and I just overall felt like there was an increase in quality when it came to MLB. There's a lot of unknowns when you factor in if someone else was going to potentially broadcast those games, and that is one thing to be excited about when it comes to MLB taking over and continuing to run this. But this does say just for 2024, so I imagine that perhaps the Diamondbacks might have just utilized the situation to potentially extend their television or their maybe a longer term deal with someone else throughout the season. But this does give them that time to do so and allows us to know where we can watch the Diamondbacks this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know that this is necessarily like, oh, the Diamondbacks are going to be broadcast by MLB in this particular format for the next decade. That's not really the announcement that's being made today. Maybe that's the case, but we've heard about the Diamondbacks wanting to do the over the air thing at some point. Maybe
Yeah,
that's still a possibility down the road. And Major League Baseball, there's also been reports that they want to have their own streaming service where you get in market games and you get them for a number of different teams starting potentially next year where they have their own streaming service. They wouldn't be able to get streaming rights for all 30 teams most likely, but they could for maybe like half of the league, and the D-backs would probably be one of those teams. So maybe that's something that we see next year. But yeah, for now, this is the route that they're going to go. And I mean, my biggest question about this is what does it mean from a revenue standpoint for the Diamondbacks?
correct.
And that's something that we might not really get a ton of clarity on, at least not publicly. They know internally, of course, what this is going to look like financially. Derek Hall said a couple of days ago that they are expecting to take a hit financially for sure. But it's a pretty big factor for this team how big of a hit that is. Major League Baseball was willing to backstop up to 80% of teams' previous TV revenue last year. But that was last year. That did not necessarily carry into the future. I suspect the Diamondbacks are getting less than 80% now with this situation is what they got before.
Joker Fett in the chat asks, how would a new MLB streaming service be different from MLB TV? I mean, I don't know.
It would be in market.
Yeah.
There would be no such thing as a blackout depending on regardless of where you are. So you could get this MLB streaming service and live in Arizona and watch Diamondbacks games in Arizona while also getting all of those other teams as well. So yeah, that would be the key difference there.
And also, I think the thing about MLB is was kind of I guess a leader in technology when it came to streaming games.
Yeah,
and they kind of have always been at the forefront of technology when it comes to this. I know at one point, again, Jesse loves when I bring up pro wrestling, but WWE modeled their network and brought over people from like MLB to help them establish when they had their own streaming service, right? So MLB has always been very good at this, but we all know blackouts suck, and we all know that they could just go away. That would be a big thing for sports and for,
yeah, I mean, in
MLB.
And with this arrangement, there are no blackouts.
Yeah.
And again, we talked last year about what that really means. It doesn't mean that you can just get your same old MLB.TV subscription and you're not going to be blacked out.
Right.
It's that those blackouts still exist.
Yeah.
But if you pay this extra fee to get the in-market games, then there are no blackouts in that sense. It happens on the same platform. You don't have to necessarily go to a different site outside of MLB in order to get these games. If you live here locally, that option to just do it all through MLB is available to you.
I think the biggest thing about this is the fact that, and Elise is alluding to it in the comments as well, that it for the most part will go unchanged. And I think that's the thing that's important is when you do have some sort of, big change like this, people don't know where to find the team. They don't, know or really want to get into another service if it was on potentially another streaming option or whatever. So at the very least, this does keep things for 2024 as they were, and MLB doing that and having that seamless approach, I think was very important to making sure that people didn't like really overreact negatively to the Bally Sports demise,
Yeah, that's a good point. It was pretty seamless last year. And yeah, they haven't given information about channels or anything like that yet. I suspect it will be similar to last year where if you were able to get these games when they were being broadcast by MLB in the second half of last season, you're probably going to be able to get them now. I can't speak necessarily to any particular streaming service, but I would imagine it would probably just carry over from last year. That officially, though, is still to be determined as far as we know.
Respect to a fellow pirate out there, free minds. Dean Browell says, I feel like this is a super narrow announcement, so MLB could say something before the games this weekend with spring training. My guess is there's still more being worked out in the background. I will say that Derek Hall had said that they were discussing deals that they did have a number of suitors, but that MLB was kind of their fallback. So there could be some truth to that, but I think maybe, it might have been a combination of maybe, once again, not receiving the offers that they were looking for like a longer term deal. So falling back with MLB was kind of safe for this year. There could be part of that, but that's just me speculating. And it could also be because of the time frame, right? Like it could just be literally MLB, they know can get games up and there won't be a delay. Whereas maybe in discussing with some of these other partners, it was going to be maybe a little bit more difficult, to have the games distributed in a timely fashion with the season here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nick says in the chat, I wish they would go over the air like the Suns and Coyotes. I think that's very, very fair, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, just accessibility. We just want to watch the games. And
yeah, I could maybe see a scenario where the Diamondbacks make some of their games available in that way, but I just don't really see it being realistic where they broadcast every single game like that. The reality is that TV revenue is a really big part of business models in the game of baseball, a bigger part than it is in other sports for sure. And the Diamondbacks just realistically could not afford, or at least, that would be their view on it, that, from a revenue standpoint, it would just be too big of a hit for the team to go completely over the air and sacrifice some revenue in that way. Whereas, a team like the Suns, or I don't know as much about the Coyotes situation, their revenue models are a little bit different.
Well, Jesse, it's National Margarita Day.
Oh, big day. Big day.
Huge day. TV deal, National Margarita Day, white pants. It looks like the Dodgers are beating the pants off the Padres right now as we speak. But again, National Margarita Day, Sombreros has you covered. Did you know you can get to-go margaritas from Sombreros up to a 32-ouncer? Let's go. Perfect way to celebrate the occasion. Sombreros, of course, is a family-owned and operated Mexican food restaurant and was voted Arizona's most loved Mexican restaurant here in town. They have, of course, locations throughout the valley in Flagstaff, and you're never far from delicious, time-tested Sonoran-style recipes, lovingly prepared since 1986. Check out their new locations here in town in Goodyear and Peoria. The one up by me in South Anthem, as Jesse would call it. I-17
it's not
and Jomax.
South Anthem, Derek. It's just Anthem.
It's just centralized Anthem. Yeah, all right. You can also visit sombreros.com to find one near you, but do not miss out on their breakfast. Their breakfast is incredible. And go get some margaritas on the way home. Stop, grab some margaritas. They also have the Pollo Fundido is just incredible at Sombreros. So do not miss out on all this goodness. Let Sombreros cater your next meal, big or small, even if it's dinner tonight. Order online or find one near you by visiting sombreros.com. Of course, another great place to stop on your way home after work, wherever you're heading out. Check out Circle K. There's one near you. And of course, they already have the cheapest gas, but if you do sign up for their Inner Circle membership program for free by downloading the Circle K app today, you can save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. You also save 3 cents off per gallon every day after that, and you get a variety of discounts on snacks, drinks, so much more. Pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, all of that for you wonderful people that join the Inner Circle. So check that out today, and do not sleep on those discounts. You can also stack those Inner Circle discounts with other discounts Circle K has, including their Easy Pay option, which I have also signed up for because I like saving money. And if you do too, make sure to join their Inner Circle program. Jesse, it was our last day of spring training camp.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. It's time for games, which I know people are excited about, but I feel like we are going to miss. We're going to miss so much because it's just fun to be out there around the guy. Like, this is the most sandlot baseball that MLB gets when you're out there watching them practice on the Clover Field over there, and or the Clover Field. That's a monster. That's a different story. Cloverleaf, but you get wonderful moments like this where we had and you would have to let us know here. Was this Christian Walker that he was jawing with? Who was Paul Sewald jawing with in this video?
Yeah, it was Christian Walker.
It sounded like Christian Walker. So what you're seeing here is Paul Sewald dueling with Cattell, who he eventually strikes out. But in the middle of it, he manages to look over at Cattell or at Christian Walker and tell him, basically, you're next, buddy.
Yeah.
Pipe down over there. And then Christian Walker responds spectacularly. Here's the video. Let's play this.
I guess we can talk over this
Yes,
first part. It doesn't happen yet.
So they come over, and this is them checking to see if it was a ball or a strike, right? They go back, or no, this was the beginning of the bat. So what they do is there's a computer back behind the backstop where Jesse and I are typically, and it tells if there's balls or strikes. And so
okay, but I need you to stop talking right here. Okay, I don't know if you couldn't really hear it, but Paul Sewald was very impressed with himself with that pitch, and he let out a little ooh when he threw that pitch.
So that's what started it. Paul Sewald instigated. And then we just talked over the rest of it. Oh wait, here, yeah, that's him. That's Cattell. Sit on it, Potsy. Can you play that one more time for us, and then we'll set up that little confrontation between. But man, I just love this. This is still like my favorite part about being out there, getting to watch these guys do this.
Yeah, Paul Sewald,
he's feeling himself.
He was pretty good. He was pretty good today. Jace Peterson hit a line drive, really like a pretty deep fly ball to the fence. I want to say he struck out 3 other batters.
Let's see if we hear the U. Oh,
yeah,
I heard
there
it.
It is. There it is. Yeah, it's really faint.
All right. And then Christian says there at the end, I've been working on sweepers all off season.
Yes, he did say he's been working on sweepers all off season. And yeah, very, very faint, but you can hear Paul was like, just wait until you get in there. Christian is like, save it, Sewald. I've been working on sweepers all off season.
Yeah.
It was really fun. We don't necessarily hear quite that much chirping happening on the field.
No.
Cattell also, after walking away, I don't think you could quite hear this at the end when we played that earlier. Cattell was convinced that the people behind home plate doing the balls and strikes, like relaying what the computer said, he said something along the lines of, you guys are calling everything a strike. Like Cattell was not on board with the strike zone, which was also very funny.
That's my favorite part. Damon and I were actually talking about that earlier. Damon basically he confessed to arguing with umpires in a very similar way, where you just kind of, he checks in with them, right? He checks in when he's the catcher or when he's hitting, just to see, was that a ball?
I know that's the most shocking thing Jesse's ever heard.
Yeah.
That I would be like passive aggressively asking the umpire, where did that one miss?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a ball outside. Oh, okay.
I would have been shocked if you hadn't done that.
Yeah,
really.
That's the more important thing here. But there's a lot of exciting things out there today, and the big talk, obviously, I know as we go into spring, we know we have our battles, right? We know what our battles are as the games start. We know that starting pitcher is very important for this team right now to figure out who that 5th starting pitcher is. And it still feels like it's one of the guys that's going to have that experience, one of the more established guys. But it does not mean, Jesse, it does not mean that we couldn't see a dark horse potentially gain some ground here with the way some of these guys are pitching. Now, it's not the case, but for the most part, we know that Tommy Henry and Ryan Nelson are the main guys in that battle, right? But
yeah,
it would be fair to say that there's a couple of guys like Bryce Jarvis and Blake Walston, right, that have probably been told that
they're going to get stretched out, and they haven't officially been ruled out as the 5th starter at this point. So yeah, I would put them in the conversation. I definitely think it's going to be either Ryan Nelson or Tommy Henry, though.
No, that's for sure. And I think that it would be hard to argue against that, especially with how good both of those guys were. But there have been a couple of guys that have been kind of the talk of camp. Humberto Castellanos lost a bunch of weight and looks absolutely great. I think Torey talked about not recognizing him when he first saw him.
He introduced himself to Humberto Castellanos, having no idea who he was looking at. Which, to be fair, the first time I saw Humberto Castellanos on the mound, it was kind of the same, where I really had no idea who I was watching. I had to double check, like, with his number and everything, like, who am I watching pitch right now? Because he does look completely different out there.
Yeah, and that's great for him. And again, he's a non-roster invitee, so he is fighting. You know, he's one of those guys fighting to have potentially a role in some way with this organization. But a guy who is very much the future of this organization was kind of the talk of the day out there, because Yu Min-Lin was throwing, man. That guy was throwing.
Yeah. Yeah, Yu Min-Lin struck out several established Diamondbacks hitters today.
Gabby Moreno,
Corbin Carroll, Jake McCarthy. Who am I missing? He got, I think Alec Thomas got what you might consider a base hit, like a ground ball down the line. Lourdes Gurriel hit a ground ball that there probably would have been a play there. So I think that probably is an out. There's one more guy who he struck out.
Jock
whose
Peterson.
name is Jock Peterson. That's
Jock
what
Peterson
it
is the other guy.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And speaking of him striking guys out, here he is striking out Gabby Moreno. Let's take a look at that. That's that step, Jesse.
Isn't that weird?
Before he delivers, it's
really
weird. That's like, is there a danger of a balk situation there with his
I think
motion?
it is subtly not a balk. Yeah, I'd have to look into that a little bit more, but yeah, I feel confident saying that it is not a balk. I think if he messed it up slightly, I think it could be.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine as is.
If he's got it locked down, he's going to be okay. But that could be a close one.
Yeah.
I know that Torey has talked about getting a chance to see guys like this, and that's kind of been where his focus has been for these last couple of days. He's talked about he knows what Ketel's going to do. He knows what Gallen and some of these other pitchers are going to do.
Right.
He wants to see guys like Lin because he doesn't get the opportunity to, and he really impressed today.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, the pitch you saw there, for those of you joining us on audio, is a high fastball. Yu Min-Lin that's not really like the calling card for Yu Min-Lin. It's the changeup, it's the breaking ball. That's what you hear talked about a lot. That was a high fastball. And I don't have a velo reading on that. That's one reason I am excited for actual games, is that now I get to dig through StatCast numbers again, which I love to nerd out over some StatCast numbers.
Your favorite thing.
But yeah,
baseball savant together.
Yeah,
in the tub.
It's gonna be great. But yeah, we don't have a velo reading on that, but it appeared to have some good upward ride. Like that pitch really played well up in the zone, at least in that particular situation. And, you combine that with a curveball that was very tight and nasty today. Honestly, I was very impressed by his curveball. The changeup is something that people have, spoken positively about really ever since he came over to the Diamondbacks organization. There's a lot to like, absolutely, with Yu Min-Lin.
We have another video here of Yu Min-Lin. I don't know who is he striking out in this one.
This is, I believe it's Jake McCarthy.
Okay.
Is that the one that I sent over? We're about to find out. Who is it? That's not Jake McCarthy. That's Lourdes Gurriel. So yeah, you see Lourdes Gurriel taking a breaking ball down in the dirt. I do believe there's a nasty breaking pitch in here somewhere that where Lourdes swings and misses. Gotta love the sounds of this game, right?
It's the best. It really is. Oof.
Isn't that tight? Like, it's really tight. It's like late break. And seeing it from that angle,
it's nasty.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, man. I mean, this guy's going to be something special, I think. Especially, like we've talked about his arsenal, right? And obviously he's not going to throw 26 different pitches when he's a major leaguer, but it does show how versatile he really is, for sure. And I just, honestly, I think that he is, he's incredible.
Yeah. That was this ends with I think Lourdes hitting a ground ball up the first baseline or something. Probably a play that could have been made. But yeah, that pitch in particular definitely stood out to me, and that was far from the only one. We'll try to get some more video out on social, maybe on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
we have a lot more Yu Min-Lin video to be shown. Corbin Carroll had taken a called third strike right as I walked up, so I don't have video of that at bat, unfortunately. But he was really impressive.
And I know he doesn't actually have a chance to make the roster, but what he does have a chance to do is kind of move up there through the organization a bit, get those eyes on him. And I mean, again, Reno is a very difficult place to pitch. So I feel like the sooner you can get there and start finding some success, like I feel like he might be ready for that point with the way that we're seeing him pitch at this time. But
yeah,
again, I still think that, like you said earlier, Tommy Henry, Ryan Nelson, they have a pretty substantial lead in front of the rest of these guys as far as, that fifth spot in the starting rotation. And, we have We have a lot of cool things still in the organization. But you talked to Gabby Moreno in the clubhouse?
Do we have that video? Gabby Moreno. We asked him afterwards, after workouts today, what it was like facing Yu Min-Lin, and he had some interesting things to say.
He's running well. He had pretty good stuff. He makes a lot of pitches, and he was nasty. And he do the job. I faced him 2 times. Today was amazing, and I'm happy for him.
Do you feel like his fastball plays up, like, just gets on you quicker than the velocity looks like it should? Like on the numbers it says like 90, but it looks faster.
Yeah. He had pretty good carry with the fastball, and that's important for him because he had a lot of spin with the breaking balls and the curveball. That's the best stuff what he had, and he just gotta execute the pitch, and he'll be pretty good. He'll be all right.
He seems like one more. He seems like a very confident guy. Seems like his personality.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Yeah. He look very confident, and that's the most important. That's what I'm trying to give us clubhouse to the young guys. Get confident and be himself. That's what I'm trying to give to him. So.
What pitches did you see from him?
I just see a cut, changer, and fastball, and he was good, pretty nasty.
Pretty nasty.
Once again, Gabby, along with other players, proving how much English they really know when the translator isn't around.
Gabby has definitely improved. I don't know if he would have been comfortable doing that in English last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, props to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, he has, he hasn't had a chance to work with some of these guys because he didn't come up in the Diamondback system. So, he is getting to see some of these younger pitchers for the first time himself. I think it's a great assessment. But Torey also had some pretty glowing things to say about Yu Min-Lin. Here's what Torey said after the workout.
Yeah, everything is around the zone. Correctable mistakes when there's misfires. Good mound presence, able to accept the coaching that he was getting. I saw 21 of his pitches. I didn't see the entire thing, but I really liked what I saw. The shape of his pitches was spot on. His ability to command all of those pitches was very good. Fastball looked like it had a nice carry and good ride to it, so very impressive.
He was really impressed.
Yeah. I noticed that Torey was actually, because Torey can only be on one field at a time.
Yeah.
So, shockingly, I know that comes as a surprise to people. But yeah, I noticed that he happened to be on the field where Yu Min-Lin was throwing his live, and had to ask him. And yeah, he clearly was. I mean, it's hard not to see a AA pitcher go out there and strike out 4 pretty established major leaguers, and get some weak contact from a couple of other guys, and not react the way that Torey just did.
Yeah. Chris in the chat says, props to anyone chatting in a second language. That's such a great, absolute great point. Like,
I've never done that, basically.
Well, I will say, like, it's the pressure of the situation, having a bunch of cameras in your face and a bunch of reporters asking you questions. And like, again, I speak Spanish, kinda, but not well enough that I would ever feel comfortable doing an interview in Spanish.
English
right?
is technically your
English is
second
technically
language?
my second language, yes. But
props
now
to you, Derek.
it's my only
Props
language now. Yeah, thank you. I do pretty good with it. I do have a job where I speak in English as a profession, but kinda sometimes it's arguable. But I will say that of course, like you were saying about Torey. He covers a lot of ground, and he has a lot to keep an eye on. And I think that's the reason why he made the statement I was talking about earlier about how he doesn't need to watch Cattell. He'll see plenty of Cattell, and he knows he can trust Corbin and Cattell and Lourdes, and he knows what those guys do. They're just getting warmed up. They're just getting, in the zone as far as, practice and live ABs are concerned. But he really does want to see these other guys, the depth pieces, the guys who aren't going to be here yet, but could be called up kind of at any time, right? Like saying Yu Min-Lin's going to get called up this year that's a far overstatement. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case, but
I mean, you just
not
never
that
know. Crazy.
You
honestly.
never know what's going to happen, right? It's really not that crazy. So I think it comes down to just wanting to be familiar with as many young faces as you can, and kind of see those guys that do impress you, especially when he's facing their major league hitters, right? It's not him facing the other minor league guys on
right.
the C field. You know, this was him facing the Diamondbacks' finest hitters. So, you know, props to him on impressing when he had the opportunity to. That's what this is all about. That's why this gets me pumped, man, because you get these young guys to get up here and like, yeah, they have it. This is the first chance for Torey to lay real eyes on some of these players. So it's such a great opportunity for them to make that great impression.
And now we just all have to hope that when Yu Min-Lin pitches, he throws at Salt River Field as much as possible so that we have StatCast data that we can analyze. All right.
Boom.
I need everyone on this
Boom.
train with me.
That's all.
Right?
That's going to make Jesse happy. Of course, there's lots of other battles that we're going to see play out here with spring training games starting tomorrow. We have the backup catcher role, which we still don't know. Jose Herrera still kind of seems like a front runner there, but you have Tucker Barnhart and Adrian Del Castillo in the mix, as well as some other young guys. We have a backup infielder role that was probably going to be filled by maybe one or even two of these guys. There's Emmanuel Rivera, Jace Peterson, Kevin Newman, Blaze Alexander. So these are the battles these are the guys that truly are going out there over the next 2 weeks and fighting for a job, fighting for a regular role with this team.
Yeah. I think it was yesterday where Torey referred to having 6 outfielders on the roster as not being totally impossible. That would be the scenario where Jake McCarthy makes the team and you literally only have one backup infielder, which I still don't totally understand how that would work logistically. But yeah, he hasn't ruled that out. So I do think it's possible that the team does just have the one backup infielder. Most likely it's going to be 2 backup infielders. You know, there's a lot of different guys getting reps at shortstop right now. I'm not sure how many of them they'll ultimately really feel comfortable playing that position. So you might want a backup shortstop guy and then, you know, someone who can kind of float around and cover some other positions as well. Maybe one guy who bats right-handed, one guy who bats left-handed, something along those lines. So there's so many different possible outcomes here. But yeah, it probably is going to come. I mean, one of the guys you mentioned, Rivera, Peterson, Newman, Alexander, one of those guys at least is going to make this roster. There's really no other way this could possibly happen.
Absolutely. Shout out to you guys, of course, for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. We thank you guys for being here. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, we love our listeners as well. Make sure you're subscribed over there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate those 5-star reviews greatly. Of course, when I talked earlier about saving money, a big way to do that is with a great financial institution. And for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. They've been dedicated to creating exceptional experiences for their customers and for the communities that they're in. And they're financial experts who are committed to helping you with your financial interests. Sometimes you can't always trust financial institutions to have your best interests in mind. So you got to make sure to trust and go with a financial institution that gets you that's looking out for you. And of course, they got me started on my home ownership journey. They can get you started on yours as well. When you open a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. You can get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Also, speaking of making some money and having some fun when it comes to baseball, BetMGM Sportsbook right now. Get down on those future bets. We had our top 100 MLB players dropped yesterday by the network. They finished their list, and of course, that means it's time to start predicting who's going to win National League MVP, American League MVP, and all of that great stuff that you can get over at the BetMGM Sportsbook. If you sign up now and use our bonus code of PHNX, deposit at least $5 into your newly created account, and place a wager in that amount or more at a standard odds price, you will receive $150 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager. Again, sign up for BetMGM now and use that bonus code of PHNX. When you place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the mobile application for at least $5, you will receive $158 instantly in additional winnings regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms. This promotional offer is not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. What was that?
I was trying to go a little higher. I went low. Yes, I was trying to show my range. I'm always auditioning for other jobs, Jesse. You know that.
I don't think singing. I don't think you're gonna find anything in that
I don't know.
realm.
People like my voice, but not when I sing. But speaking of looking for other jobs, Baxter, your fucking days are numbered, pal. I'm just letting you know that now. Why do people ask that? Well, for years I've had to explain to people why the hell a goddamn snake-based team has a Baxter, a bobcat, if you will, as their mascot. I have to explain to them the name, where Bobcat, what Bob was, what Bank One ballpark was, what Bank One is, how Chase acquired it, the financial institution thing all over again. There's so many things I have to explain due to it. And my life would be so much simpler if we could just have a mascot that looked like this. Damon, play the goddamn video, because Baxter, I'm sorry to say this, pal, as much as I love you and use you in every single one of my videos as much as I can, this needs to be the new thing. Look at this, Jesse. Look at this thing. Could you imagine if in between innings or when a home run happened, this son of a bitch came out onto the field and just started doing laps? This snake? Look at this thing. This is incredible. You know how we could launch it? We could start off by it coming onto the field one day and eating Baxter.
That sounds terrible.
I mean, I'm not saying do it on the night that all the kids' camps are there. I'm saying doing it on, maybe a 7:10 start on a Saturday.
How long do you think that snake is?
I don't know, but
probably like 30 feet.
Look,
30 feet, 40 feet.
Once we figure out a way for that thing to make its way up and down the aisles at Chase Field and on the main concourse, it's over for you, Baxter. I don't know what to tell you.
What I want to know is how does the person inside of
it's a remote control car, Jesse. It's a remote. I'm pretty sure it's a remote control car.
Does it take like several people to operate it? Get it to like swerve around?
I said that before. We could have a snake where it was like, some of the like dragons and like Asian festivals and stuff, right? Where they have like the people in like a dragon costume. Like they could have snakes that are like that. Just it's going to require 6 of you and a lot of trust from 5 of you. There's only one is seeing out the front. The rest, they're just following the conga line, Jesse. That would be part of that costume, right? But yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of time to figure out, wow, we're going to get that snake here. We just need that snake here. Baseball games will be played tomorrow for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, they're getting played right now. If you want to call whatever the hell this is between the Dodgers
really
and the
scored
Padres.
8 runs in the first inning.
In the first 5 minutes of that game.
That doesn't seem to bode well.
It's a bad things do not look good.
Joe Musgrove did not get an out in this game and allowed 4 runs, it appears. So that's it's early.
Yeah, it is early. Well, Torey was talking about the lineup that he's going to see tomorrow.
Yeah. Torey was asked today about what the lineup will look like. I guess I should say first, he was not able to answer who would be pitching on back of Eduardo Rodriguez. We know Eduardo Rodriguez is starting the game. We still do not know who's pitching in back of him. He was asked about the lineup, and he said he does know what the lineup is going to look like, but he wanted the players in the clubhouse to see it first. However, he did give a little bit of a nugget with kind of an interesting explanation on the back end. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
I do. I know the right guy for that. So let me tell the guys first. I will say this, that the infielders will be playing tomorrow. The outfielders are gonna start the next day. So you can piece together that way. I just haven't had a chance to put the lineup up yet. So I want them to see it first the way they normally would.
Torey, what's the reasoning behind starting the infield tomorrow and the outfield on the next day?
Just to stagger them. Major League Baseball has some representative numbers. They need to have a certain amount of players per game on the field. So I can't pile everybody into one game and then the next day have 2 representatives. I have to have 4 or 5 depending on the type of game. So I'll have 3 the following day. I'll have 4 and then 3 each day. So I'm just going to stagger it that way. And then at some point when we get down into our final numbers, you'll start to see the group come together. Probably the last 10 days, you'll see the entire group come together and play on the same field at the same time.
Is there a formula for how many?
That's an interesting caveat. Is that new? Is that something that's always been around? What is that?
I suspect it has been around, but it's not something that I knew about. Yeah, basically what Torey's saying is he doesn't want to play like all of the starting caliber players on day 1 and then, the next day only play a couple of them. He's staggering it because Major League Baseball requires you to have either 4 or 5 so-called representatives, which is basically just players that Major League Baseball has delivered to the Diamondbacks. And it's their choice. So Major League Baseball has decided like which players are part of this group, and the Diamondbacks have to have 4 or 5 members of that group
Starters?
playing. Starting on any given day.
But that's what I mean. Is that group comprised of like their typical starting players, essentially?
Exactly. The goal here is to make it so that people don't pay way too much money to go to a spring training game, because these games are expensive. They don't want people to pay $100 to sit behind home plate at a spring training game, and then the starting lineup is comprised solely of minor league players whose names you might not know.
You are not.
So yeah, I assume it's 4. They have to have a minimum of 4 of these players that Major League Baseball has sort of predetermined for split squad games, and then 5 for regular games would be my guess. So yeah, that's interesting. So it sounds like you're going to see the infielders playing tomorrow, or starting tomorrow, I should say, the kind of the primary infielders, and then on Saturday you'll see the starting outfield group in there as well. So there's kind of that staggering thing going throughout all of spring training.
Well, I'm going to miss all of this fun because I am going to be on a boat. I'm going on the first cruise of my life in 24 hours, and I am just anxiety riddled, to be honest. I have a lot of issues with this whole trip, but I hope to have fun. I will be completely disconnected, and who knows if I'm ever coming back from the Bahamas. There's no promises, but I did originally come from an island, and I might just return to the island life and not see a reason to come back. Who knows? If you have anything to say to me, make sure to drop it now, or text me, Discord, DM, all that kind of stuff, because who knows? I'm not going to be with technology when I'm out there, so this might be the end for me. But I can't. I do hope I make it back, Jesse, and the reason why is because we have some incredible takeovers planned.
We do
for 2024, and we are happy to let you guys know. Here are 3 takeover events for 2024 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. On May 4th versus the San Diego Padres, we outside. And if you know that date, or you wonder why that's a special date, it's not Star Wars night, even though it should be with every team in baseball.
It's not Star Wars night?
No, it's not Star Wars night. It is Gabriel Moreno Gold Glove bobblehead night is what it is, Jesse. And that is the night that we are going to be taking over Chase Field. Obviously, you guys are all aware of the July 31st date, our afternoon game for the PHNX pool party versus the Washington Nationals. And then on September 10th, we will be out there as a team, as a family, as a connected and dangerous team of Belgian draft horses. We will be out there to see the Diamondbacks take on the Texas Rangers in a World Series rematch. So there's some takeover events for you for 2024. We can't wait to come watch some games with you guys, watch some baseball with our fans, with our friends. So make sure, if you are not a diehard, get down on that diehard membership now. Of course, that diehard membership will get you those discounts on events. You also get a free t-shirt from the phnxlocker.com and so much more. Our man Saul is here. Saul, what do you have? What do you have for me?
What do you want, Saul?
I do believe, Jesse, take that tone out of your voice. I do believe the pool will be active to purchase tickets tonight.
Let's go.
Oh.
Let's go. We can get those tickets now. Go out there tonight and get them. Tonight, not now. Tonight. I got to correct myself. And you watch your tone with him. He's only doing that because he's on the show, and you can't come snatch him up right now.
Saul in like 3 weeks.
Oh man, but we're gonna have some fun watching baseball. So again, get that diehard membership, get discounts on those events, get your free t-shirt from the PHNX locker of your choosing, get all of Jesse's content, all of our wonderful Discord content. We dropped a Mailbag Wednesday episode kind of last night, kind of this morning.
Yeah, we dropped a Mailbag Wednesday episode on what
Thursday?
Day? On Thursday.
On Thursday?
Yeah, yep, there we go.
We're good at this.
We've got everything together over here. We're great.
We tried to figure it out. So of course, make sure you get down on this, because we're making some wonderful content for our diehards. We want you to be a part of it. Also, make sure to check out our friends over at OG's Brands, which help me out every single day of my life, and they can help you as well. They've launched 2 new products made with live rosin and Rick Simpson oil. You can get down on the OG's Naturals or the Big OG's, which have been rumored by some that you could potentially eat it in one sitting, but that's neither here nor there. You also have the OG's Naturals, which are vegan gummies, and they're available in a sweet clementine flavor. So whether you're looking for a Big OG's, which is a mega version of Peg's Raspberry RSO, or those vegan OG's Naturals, make sure to check out everything OG's has to offer. They have a wide variety of doses and strains. To learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com. And I am setting off on this adventure. And the thing that frustrates me the most is I don't need to leave this state to go off on an adventure, Jesse. That's
fair.
It's a very expensive lesson I'm learning with this particular cruise. But if you want to go out and have a little staycation here in town, go off on an adventure of your own, make sure to check out Arizona Lottery's new unique ticket promotion called Arizona Adventure. They have a couple of different ways for you to win. Of course, they have their Arizona Adventure lottery tickets featuring 3 iconic landscapes, and you can win up to $50,000 on those tickets. You can also check in at geolocated adventures at 10 destinations across the state, from Flagstaff to Yuma. So make sure to check out everything that they have to offer, because checking in at these destination coordinates on their website can win you up to $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. Of course, this promotion is all about state pride and the uniqueness and beauty of Arizona. So visit azadventure.com for more information on how you can take an adventure with the Arizona Lottery and for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. That would be a big help right now. $1 million in travel prizes. Because daddy's broke, Jesse. If you don't, those cruises nickel and dime you to death, let me tell you. But of course, if this is goodbye forever. We appreciate you guys for stopping by. I will miss you. Just know that, and I appreciate everything. But you can't follow me on Twitter. I will probably be posting some adventure pictures while I'm gone. But I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. Jesse will be holding it down for me, so make sure to follow him for all of your spring training updates. Go to Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, the people's producer, Damon, is where you want to get your overreactions on Twitter. So make sure to follow him at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Of course, we are Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our heart still isn't in it, but his heart is in everything, every argument, every fight he has. Of course, our show is at PHNX D-backs, and all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Be live at 6:00 tomorrow.
Live at 6.
We're making the official change to going live after Diamondbacks spring training games.
Yep, so
we'll
that
be
Jesse
live,
can talk to people, actually
so that I can actually do some of the post game stuff.
Yep.
Hopefully, depending on traffic, we'll see with that whole situation. I'm not at all looking forward to driving from all of these venues downtown.
Oh yeah, he's leaving at 4 o'clock
like
and driving
the worst time of day every
down the
single
101
day.
through the 10. It's
Yes.
going to be rough, but anyway. We do this because we love you. Of course, make sure to join them at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and then Monday next week and all next week we'll be doing the 6 p.m. thing after those spring training games. So we hope you guys join us, and until then, we appreciate your time. We thank you guys so much for stopping by, and remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you know where you can watch baseball.
We all silly like the mayor.